Welcome to the lecture on linear measurements 2. Last lecture we saw floating micrometer for measuring the screw threads. So, today we will see micrometer instruments and we will see also slip gauges. We had the basic in the last lecture. So, let us try to solve a problem. A screw gauge with a pitch of 0.5 millimeter. Pitch is, this is called as a pitch, right? Two consecutive threads, this is called pitch P, right? Pitch is 0.5 millimeter and a circular scale with 50 division is used to measure the thickness of a thin sheet of aluminum. Before starting the measurement, it was found that when the two jaws of the screw gauge are brought in contact, the 45th division coincides with the main scale line. There is a error, and that the 0 of the main scale division is barely visible. What is the thickness of the sheet if the main scale reading is 0.5 millimeter and the 25th division coincides with the main scale line? So, the lesson of this problem is, before trying to take any measurement using any instruments, dial it to 0, see whether you get 0 in the ground state, or before the start of the measurement when everything is put screw gauge, just make both the jaws come close to each other and see whether the 0 divisions are matching. If it is not so, there is a error. So, this error first we will try to avoid, or the other way around is, you try to know the error and when you get the final answer, subtract it from the final answer and then you get the correct answer. So, but please try to do 0 dialing before start measurement. Okay. So, let us solve. Least count, which is LC, is nothing but pitch by number of divisions on circular scale. Okay. So, this is nothing but 0.5 divided by 50, so which is nothing but 0.01 millimeter. So, the negative or the error, negative 0 error is nothing but minus 5 times into LC. So, which is nothing but minus 5 into 0.01, which is minus 0.05 millimeter. Okay. Now, the measured value is main scale reading plus screw gauge reading minus the error, the initial error whatever we had. So, this is, or I can, if you want to be more specific, we call it as 0 error. Okay. So, it is 0.5 millimeter plus 25 into 0.01 millimeter, and this is minus 0.05 millimeter. So, the answer is going to be 0.80 millimeter. This will be the thickness of the sheet. Let us try one more problem. In a screw gauge, the 0 of a main scale coincides with the 5th division of a circular scale. The circular scale division of the screw gauge are 50. It moves 0.5 millimeter on the main scale in one rotation. The diameter of the ball is what? So, the least count LC of the screw gauge is equal to pitch by N. We saw the formula. So, this is nothing but 0.5 divided by 50, which is nothing but 0.01 millimeter. The dia of the ball is equal to 2 into 0.5 millimeter, okay, plus 25 minus 5 into 0.01 millimeter. So, which is nothing but 1.2 millimeter. Okay. So, this is the diameter of the ball. Next, let us move on to slip gauges, also called gauge blocks, can counter some of the limitations such as wear and tear, which can lead to the accumulation of errors in measurement within a short time. Slip gauge is basically, if you see, it is a end measurement rather than a linear measurement. The origin of gauge blocks can be traced in 18th century in Sweden, where gauge sticks were found to be used in the machine shop. However, in modern days, slip gauges or gauge blocks owe their existence to the pioneering work done by Jackson, a Swedish armory inspector. Therefore, the gauge block is sometimes called as Johannesson's gauge. So, this is a typical slip gauge block. So, here you see it is as I told you, it is end measurement. So, you will have 60 millimeters, 30 millimeters, 20, 10 and 9. So, if there is a value, suppose if the value is 79.00 millimeter, you have to make 79.00 millimeter. Then what we do is, so if it is to be 89, or you try to, instead of 20, you try to take a 10. If it is 79, take 60, take 10 and 9. So, now 3 blocks are taken, and these 3 blocks, they are attached or they are placed one above each other. When they are placed one above each other and we are looking forward for micron accuracy, then there should not be any gap between these gauge blocks. Okay. So, now what you do? You made these gauge blocks, pick up the values whatever you want, and then you start solving it. So, you accumulate it, and now what have you done? You have made 3 end gauges. So, if you want to take a measurement, this will be perfectly measurable in terms of height. So, this is gauge 1, gauge 2 and gauge 3, 60, 10, 70, 9. Okay. So, gauge blocks, shapes, grades and size. There are several grades, like the grades we had in surface plates. Here also you will have grades and sizes. The slip gauges are available in 3 basic shapes: rectangle, square with a center hole and a square without a central hole for various applications. So, what we showed you was a rectangle type. Rectangle type is the most commonly used, since they are most convenient where space is restricted and excess weight is to be avoided. Square slip gauge have larger surface area and lesser wear rate. They also adhere better to each other when rung together. Rung is an operation. So, rung means what we do is, we try to take a block, we try to take another block, right. This is gauge 1 or a block 1, this is block 2. Then what we do is, we try to place G1 and then we try to place G2 on top of it, and then what we do is, we try to swivel it at about its center line, and then G1 and G2 are made one above each other. So, first it is allowed to slide and place, and then what we do is slide and place it perpendicular. So, then G2 is rotated in such a way G2 and G1 are aligned. So, this process of sliding and rotating is called as ringing operation or rung. The square block with center hole permits the use of tie rods, which ensures the build-up slip gauges do not fall apart. Tie rods are basically there is a rod in between, and the extreme ends you have 2 nuts or 2 spacers or 2 stoppers. The slip gauges are classified into grades depending on their guaranteed accuracy: grade 2, grade 1, grade 0, grade 00 and calibration grade are some of the 5 grades of slip gauges. Grade 2 is generally used in the workshop. Grade 1 is generally used in the tool room. Grade 0 is used in inspection grade slip gauges. Grade 00 is kept in the standards room and is used for inspection and calibration of high precision only. Calibration grade is a special grade which is the actual size of the slip gauge stated on a special chart supplied with the set of slip gauges. So, this is at the shop floor, operator works, then it is taken to a tool room, then the tool room is getting calibrated at a higher end either inside the factory or in the city somewhere or in the state. Then it is taken to the standard, like last time when we discussed, I was trying to tell this is district level, this is state level and this is country level, and this is a special type which is used. So, these are the 5 grades of slip gauges which are used in real time. So, the gauge blocks, grades and size, the slip gauges are available in a standard set both in metric and inches. Even today inches are used in a big way in certain part of the world. So, that is why we still have both metric and inches. In metric, set of 31, 48, 56 and 103 pieces are available. So, what are these pieces we are talking about? These are the pieces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the pieces. So, you can have more, like you can have 103 pieces, 56, 48 and 31. So, when we say 103 pieces, so that means to say here you can go to the second decimal or third decimal accuracy while building these slip gauge blocks for a required height. So, for instance, the set of 103 pieces consists of the following: one piece of 1.005 millimeter. So, you see, to the third decimal accuracy you can build. When we talk about 49, it ranges from 1.1 to 1.49. So, it is do the second decimal. When you reduce it further down in steps of 0.01 millimeter. When you go for 49 piece range from 0.5 to 24.5, the step size is 0.5, and 4 pieces range from 25 to 100 is 25 millimeter. So, you can see 103, if you sum it up all, you will get 103. You will have one piece of accuracy 1.005, 49 piece you have at the range from this to this in step size of this 1.09. So, what you can do is, suppose you have 23.545, you can start building this from the block. For example, 1.005, so you say minus 1.005. So, now it is 23.54 left to you for building. So, this is gauge 1. Next, what I will do is, I will try to kill this. So, I will try to take maybe if it is 1.04. So, now gauge 2 block is there. So, I will do 23 point, sorry, it becomes 22 and this becomes 21.500. So, then I take 21.500, I minus it by 1.500, so I get 20. So, this is gauge 3, and then finally, I have directly a block of this gauge 4. So, this is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So, this is gauge 4. So, now with 4 gauge blocks, so gauge 4, gauge 3, gauge 2 and gauge 1, I could build up, this is 23.545 millimeter. So, what is that? To one accuracy of micron, I am able to get the slip gauges done. I am able to build the height. Now, with this height, what I can do is, I can take it to a screw gauge, I can take it to a vernier, I can take it to height gauge, find out what is this height, find out what is that height. Now, I have converted an end measurement into a linear measurement or another end measurement. So, that now I make sure whatever I measure in this instrument is perfect. And this is how is the calculation we try to remove or we try to work to choose the gauges. Ringing of a slip gauge. Ringing is a phenomena of adhesion of two flat and two surfaces when they are brought in close contact with each other. The force of adhesion is such that the stack of set of blocks will almost serve as a single block. And interestingly, as a check, what people say is, after you rung slip gauges, you have to turn it upright and see whether the slip gauges fall down or not. So, it has to be a perfect contact without any glue and can be handled and moved around without disturbing the position of the individual blocks. If the surfaces are clean and flat, the thin layer of film separating the block will also have negligible thickness. This means that stacking of multiple blocks of known dimension will give the overall dimension with minimum error. Because if I want 23.545, getting a block of one block of this is next to impossible. And second thing, if I want to build several of these combinations, then it is like a modular concept which is used in building up the block. And in fact, it is a modular concept which is used way back in inspection itself. So, this is what is the ringing. As I said, you have gauge 1, gauge 2, first we slide, we apply pressure and we slide, so it is becoming perpendicular, then we rotate it and then we put it one after the other. So, this is G2, this is G1, so G2, G1. Now, G1 is inside and G2 both are aligned. So, this we discussed prior. So, how are these manufacturing of slip gauges done? So, the slip gauges, whatever we talk about, individual gauges should be as flat as possible. It should not have any undulation on the surface. First of all, the roughness should be good, the straightness should be good, which is a 2D parameter. Roughness 1D, straightness is also 1D. So, then we try to talk about something called as flatness. The flatness is a 3D parameter. So, here we try to talk about two flat planes up and down, they should be as flat as possible. We talk about accuracy of 1 micron. Manufacturing slip gauges to the highest degree of accuracy and precision is one of the major challenge for mechanical engineers. They have the accuracy, flatness, parallelism and surface quality has to be maintained. International claimed methods are the one recommended by United States Bureau of Standards and the German Zeiss method. In India, NPL has the standard wherein which they make the slip gauges or they calibrate the slip gauges what is manufactured and they maintain the standards in India. Calibration of slip gauges are calibrated by direct comparison with calibration grade gauge using a comparator. So, what is that is, you have made your stack ready here, then you have made the calibrated grade, and here between these two they put a comparator. This comparator can be a mechanical, can be light, anything. Using a comparator they check whether both the heights are okay. The slip gauge needs to be calibrated at regular intervals. That means to say any measuring instrument has to be calibrated at regular intervals. Since even a slightest worn out of the slip gauge can create a havoc in the quality, NPL has recommended schedules for calibrating the slip gauges at different levels. A slip gauge set with 87 as under is available. So, here is a numerical problem which we wanted to solve. So, here you can see there is number of blocks between this range to this range is 0.001 step, you have 9 blocks, 1.1 to 1.49 in the step size of this you have 49 blocks, 0.5 to 9.5 you have 0.5, step size of 0.5 you have 19 blocks, and then finally you have 1. So, now what we are trying to do is we are trying to build slip gauges for 29 point. So, we are trying to build slip gauge for 29.758. Okay. So, if you go back to the sum 0.08 you have 9 blocks. Okay. So, what I do is I try to take, so first I try to take 29.578 and then I subtract 1.008. So, I get 28.750. Then I try to take, so here if you see here I have a choice of 1.25 in the next step. So, I try to take minus 1.250 next gauge. So, this is gauge 1, this is gauge 2, slip gauge 1, slip gauge 2. So, then I have 27.500, right. So, then what I do is in this select, so I have 7.5 will be the next one I subtract. So, I get 20,000, then finally I take 20,000 and this is 0. So, I have gauge 3 and gauge 4. That means to say I would first put 20, this is gauge 4, then I put 7.5 gauge 3, then I put 1.25 gauge 2 and I have gauge 1. So, this entire height is now 29.758. I have used ringing of the gauges to get this proper alignment. To build gauge for, next was build slip gauges for 46.635 so millimeter. So, you have to look at the box, you have to look at the steps here available, and then you have to pick whatever is there in the box, you just have to pick with the latest one. So, what it will be is 46.635. So, first I will put 1.005. So, I get 45.630, then I subtract 1.130. So, I get 44. Then what I do is I subtract 4.500. So, then I get a block of 40, then I subtract 40, I can get it done. This 40, if it is available, you try to do it 40 directly, or you can do it as 20 and 20, so that you are based upon what is available in your box. You have to pick these gauges and then start solving it. So, finally, we get 1, 2, so 1.05, 1.13, 4.5 and 40. You can try to assemble and then try to get the answer for it. So, let us try one more sum. A dimension of 57.89895 millimeter is required to be a set with the help of a slip gauge as accurately as possible. Two sets of M45 grade 0 and M112 grade are available. Okay. The ranges and the number of pieces in each set are given below. So, this is for grade 0 and this is for grade 2. So, two sets are available. So, now you have to build 57.895. So, the permissible error is in 1 by this thing units in a mean length of grade 0 and grade 2 are stated. These are the grades, these are the errors which are set. Determine the set you will select and the range of the dimension set with the selected set. So, here these are the lengths and here is the units which is permissible error which is given, and the grades are also given here. So, if we have to solve, so now M45, so it is 557.895. So, this can be first we take 005, so it is 56.890. So, then it is minus 1.09, so it is 55.800, then it is 1.800, so then it is 54, then it is 4, then it is 50. Okay. So, what is the maximum permissible tolerance? Maximum upper tolerance obtainable is, if you go by this, obtainable tolerance is 10, and when it falls between these two ranges 20 to 60, it is plus 15. Okay. So, the maximum tolerance is 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 15. Okay. So, now it is, this is equal to 55. So, now what they have said is, they said each division is 1 by 100,000. So, which is nothing but 0.00055 millimeter. Okay. So, the maximum dimension is going to be 57.895 plus 0.00055 and the minimum dimension is going to be 57.895 minus 0.00055. Okay. So, the range, what is the range we are talking about? The range is max minus min. So, this is nothing but max minus min, this is the range. So, using, so this is for M45. So, in the same way for M, so we have the other thing M112. So, using the second set M112, so we have, so again so the problem will be the same which we have to solve. So, it will be 57, this will be same, this will be same for both the sums. So, same for M45 as well as M112. So, the maximum upper tolerance will be 50 plus 50 plus 50 plus 80, which is 230. How did this 50, 50 and all come? So, it is given here grade. So, 50, 50 is given for grade 2, okay. Grade 1, grade 2, grade 0 and grade 2. So, 50, 50, 80 has come from here, okay. This is for grade 2. So, 230. So, now the 230 we will multiply. So, the upper tolerance, so that is the 230 into 1 by 100,000, which is 0.0023 millimeter. So, the maximum lower tolerance, upper lower tolerance will be 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 50, which is 110. So, that is 110 into 100,000, which is 0.0011 millimeter. So, the maximum dimensions in this grade M112 will be 57.895 plus 0.0023 and which is nothing but 578973 millimeter, and the minimum dimension is going to be 57.895 minus 0.0023, which is nothing but 57.8939 millimeter. So, the range is going to be, range is nothing but max minus min. So, it is 57.8973 to 57.8939 millimeters. Okay. So, it is clear. What is clear? So, what is the range? So, you have 0.005 and this. So, if I want, this is for grade 2 M112 and the previous range will be, range for the previous whatever we solved is 57.89445 to 57.89555 millimeter. This is for grade, this is for grade 0 M45. So, now you can say the answer. So, it is clear M45 should be selected for more accuracy as compared to grade 2 of M112. So, like this you can expect problems in the examination. So, slip gauge is used for linear measurement. This linear measurement, line measurement is good, but end measurement gives you more accuracy. So, we are using slip gauges to build up the blocks to the required dimension and then try to find out the height measurement or the length measurement. So, to recapitulate, what all did we see in the linear measurement chapter? First we saw the introduction, then we saw various guidelines. So, this is very important guidelines: readability, reliability, repeatability, precision, accuracy, all these things we saw. Then and then coinciding, the axis should coincide with the measured component. Then we saw about surface plate, we went for a V block. V block was something like this. So, we put a circular one and then you can try to measure the height. So, V block, then we saw various graduated scales, then different scaled instruments, then vernier caliper, micrometer, height gauge, and then finally we saw use of slip gauges. So, I would like to give a small assignment to our friends. So, let us try to take a screw. Okay. So, this screw, we wanted to find out the dimension of a screw. Okay, so you will have a counterpart also. Can I use a screw gauge or a vernier to measure diameter of the screw? Okay, this is point number 1. Second thing is, if I have to measure the angle here, so here is an angle, right? How do I measure this angle? Measure angle between threads. How do I do it? What should be the method? The last one is, try to take a drill of any dimension, 6 millimeter, 8 millimeter, right? Any drill, try to measure the diameter using a vernier caliper, okay, and see whether you get the results correct. Okay. So, these 3 are assignments for you, and moment you measure, if you find out there is an inconsistency, think what is the reason for inconsistency. If you have perfectly got it, check with the book or the specification which is given for that particular screw or for the drill, what you have measured and what is given by them is matching. Thank you very much.